your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
On the Morning Drive, obviously there'll be a lot of coverage today of Hurricane Milton and the aftermath of what's taken place down in Florida, St. Petersburg, Bradenton, Sarasota, that area, Tampa, certainly. And Jamie, I'm just seeing this for the first time this morning, but most of the roof at Tropicana Field is now gone. It has been shredded and ripped off by the hurricane winds that went through that area, and
there was supposed to be like 10,000 people in there.
Well, right, and they'd had a bunch of cots in there for linemen and stuff like that were kind of in position to help with the recovery and getting people's power turned back on. Apparently, they got those folks out, but that's it's. I mean, there's going to be a lot of stories, and there's going to be life loss and things along those lines. But I think that was not intended to happen. Their media guide apparently says that the roof, or that the Tropicana, could sustain 115 mile per hour winds, and this thing looks like it got tossed around, like a piece of paper in the street. So there'll be and there's no drainage inside the field because it was never intended to be open. And so, so probably a lot of damage there. They're building a new stadium, but it won't be ready until 2028 at the earliest. So it's a new stadium is planned to be built. So I don't even know if they started construction on anything like that, but that could really affect things. And obviously, there's far bigger things to worry about, especially when you talk about people's homes and jobs and lives and stuff like that than a baseball stadium. But it's pretty surprising. And down in Houston, they're still trying to get the roof fixed, I think, at NRG from the hurricane that blew through there. And it's these big structures. You think of Houston, you don't necessarily think of. You think of hurricane, but you don't think of it blowing all the way into Houston proper like that. Maybe Jeff can speak better to this.
It doesn't get hit often, but when that area gets hit, Houston's right on the coast.
It is. I just don't think they never. I don't think they ever would have dreamed that
Houston does.
Energy would get.
You deal with the wind. You get north side of town. You got big tall trees in Humble and everywhere. You get away from that area. But the thing about Houston that makes it good at hurricanes is when they built the city, they put a drain in the bottom of it, and all of it goes out to the ship channel. Okay. So remember when Harvey hit Houston, and they got all that rain for like a week, and everyone's like, it's going to be flooded for months. There's no way we're going to have the game against Houston there. You plug that drain, and they're back to work in a week. Like, it drains. Now, there are parts that are still underwater after a couple of weeks. But those are the very low-lying areas that, the underground areas that get flooded that take time to get cleaned out. But the streets get cleared out, the roads get cleared out, the neighborhoods get cleared out from all the water because it's above sea level. It drains out to that ship channel, and it goes immediately out to the ocean.
There's our 1%er right there.
Well, no, I live there.
Well, I know you did, but I mean, not everybody that lives there has that walking around knowledge. Immediately can go, no, it's got a drain. It can drain right out to the ship channel.
There's a lot of people that grew up when I did that got this information because we were listening to Neil Frank on the weather forecast on CBS News.
There you go.
And, Neil Frank used to run the Hurricane Center. And he was like the one weather guy who's like, come this way, hurricane. I love talking about hurricanes. It was kind of
who
fun
was
to
the
watch.
guy? There was a guy down in Miami that was in charge of the Hurricane Center. Whenever he came on, then you knew that it was big. It was big time. So anyway, some pet peeves here off the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Hate it when someone says "for all intensive purposes." I seen that. You mean you saw that? Supposedly instead of supposedly kills me. Yeah. There's a number of things like that.
I'm not going to tell you who, but we currently have an employee who his favorite line is "heard that." Great. Did you understand that? That's what I need you to do. I'm glad your ears are, in fact, connected to your brain and you get information. Can you process it?
Is there a reason why you're not disclosing who this individual is?
He's a good guy and he's working really hard, but it's just his way of saying that he got it and he understands. Okay. But every time he says it to me, I'm like, great, did you understand?
This is the same as when I say to Jeff, Chuck, when I say to Jeff, usually it's when something has gone wrong. I say, Jeff, are we on the air? And Jeff's response is,
should be.
Should be.
Yeah, I'm well aware. We're on the air, supposed to be on the air 24 hours
24/7 a day, yeah.
If I ask the question, there's usually a problem. And so should be
now what Jamie
is a given, right? We should be on the air. We don't ever go off the air on purpose unless we're like fixing something.
Sure. Supposed to be. We're supposed to be.
No, I don't care.
Yeah.
No, it's not. The should be is not bothering me. It's, yes, I know we should be.
Yeah, right.
Are we?
Yes, right. I got
yes.
you. I got you.
Yes, everybody knows we should be.
We should be, right.
Yeah.
What Jamie doesn't see in those situations is me immediately pulling up the programs that I can get into and look to see if we are on the air.
Yeah.
But I don't want to sit there and not say anything either because I feel like that's worse.
Yeah, should be. We should be. Yeah.
Because then it's, well, are we? I'm like, I'm working on it. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
I'm finding out more information.
Yeah. Robert says, and I haven't seen this yet, so I'll just take it for what he said, that Raymond James Stadium was damaged and flooded. Yeah, I would imagine. There's probably a lot of places that are affected by that, and how that affects the NFL, I don't know. And for the weekend, I know that Tampa's on the road this week, and that they got out of town early. In fact, they're in New Orleans, I believe, on this weekend. The Buccaneers, and so they got out of town like on Tuesday to avoid the hurricanes. It's quite a mess. And I in between innings watched a little bit of hurricane coverage last night, and I mean, these silly reporters that are outstanding. I mean, they can barely stand. And Anderson Cooper, the story this morning is he got hit by debris. No kidding, really. It's blowing all over the place. You can barely stand up, and now the story is him because he got hit by debris. Right, go inside.
But they know people like you are going to watch hurricane coverage, so they send somebody there to do that.
I was just curious. But
I'm not saying you're wrong for it. I'm just saying.
At some point in time, though,
people are curious is a good word, right?
Yeah.
People are going to watch, right? That's why they have people there.
Yeah, at some point in time, though, you got to get out of the way because it's going to.
At some point in time, somebody's going to get somebody killed.
Yeah, I hate it when people say, "I'm not going to lie." Does that mean the other times you are lying to me? Right.
I say that one.
Yeah. People who say
or being honest here.
Frustrated, yeah, instead of frustrated.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Morning Drive. Today is 10/10/24. Time for this day in sports history. Here's Jeff McGuire.
Going to start in 1945. In the Baseball World Series, Tigers beat the Cubs 9-8 at Wrigley Field to clinch the series 4-3. It's the Tigers' second championship.
I don't think they'd win another one for 41 years. 43 years. They won in 84.
Yes.
I don't think.
1956, in the World Series, behind Yogi Berra's 2 home runs, the Yankees beat the Brooklyn Dodgers 9-0 in Game 7 at Ebbets Field. Your MVP, Yankees pitcher, Don Larson.
Oh, how about that? Yeah, makes sense.
1973, National League Championship, New York Mets beat the Cincinnati Reds 3-2. 1994, New York Giants make everybody else in the NFL take a deep breath and relax because they retire Lawrence Taylor's number 56.
Oh, I forgot about the Tigers 1968 Denny McClain 30-game winner.
Aha.
So that's my fault.
No, you're fine. 1998, Darian Pitts blocks a punt and recovers a fumble for a 53-yard touchdown as Texas Tech beats Oklahoma State 24-17 to improve to 6-0 on the year. And in 2015, Patrick Mahomes throws for 428 yards and 5 touchdowns Jakeem Grant has 9 catches for 166 of those yards and 2 of those touchdowns. And Texas Tech beats Iowa State 66-31.
That was here, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Which game?
Iowa State 2015.
What was the score?
66-31.
I'm pretty sure it was here.
I do owe Chuck an apology.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, I probably do too. Sorry, Chuck.
Yesterday was the anniversary of the 70-point win against Nebraska, and I didn't have it in this day in sports history.
Oh,
Why do you owe Chuck an apology?
Because that would have needed. That's one of Chuck's all-time favorite games.
It's one of my all-time favorite games, just because we just put it on Nebraska and just ran it up on them,
and 70 points for a Red Raider team at home. It should have been mentioned yesterday, and I will have it next year. I promise.
I feel like you owe an apology to all Red Raider fans. Chuck only hated Nebraska because they what they did to Kansas.
Right, but then we also...
Why don't we apologize to the Red Raiders in the mix? He hooked up we took care of it for Kansas.
I know, I appreciate that. I was extremely appreciative.
And we all got to miss out on the story of Chuck yelling back at the Nebraska head coach.
Yeah, so the former coach.
Coach.
Yeah, Dr. Tom, screaming from my seats on the east side. And my wife trying to figure out what was going on. I was like, in 1982, she's like, oh, my God.
Happy National Cake Decorating Day. So put a little flower, squiggly line across the top of your cake.
How about somebody just getting a cake? Yeah, that was that Iowa State game was here in Lubbock.
Okay. Happy birthday, Mario Lopez, 51. Brett Favre, 55. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is 50. Soulja Boy is 36.
Did you have thoughts that he would make it to 36, Jamie? Soulja Boy?
I mean, he's just a rapper.
No, but man,
I think you guys are saying. I think it's like Soulja Boy.
Soulja.
Yeah.
Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy.
Not like Soulja.
I bet he doesn't make it to 40.
Yeah, Soulja Boy.
You're saying he's going to get killed in the next 4 years?
No, he's going. He won't get killed.
Wow.
I think it will be self-induced.
Wow.
I mean, what do you know about this person?
I don't. I just feel like that these rappers kind of just go down quite a bit.
Man, Ice-T is alive and kicking, and he was going and he was doing his game in the 80s, man.
I mean.
Wow.
I just feel like he's.
Some of them. I mean, you probably would have said that about Snoop back in the day, and now he's a media darling.
He's everywhere. I mean, he was even on the start of the ESPN broadcast, and I'm like, I thought he was an NBC property, but apparently not.
And Joni Benson is 62. You might not recognize her name, but I guarantee you recognize her voice. She was the singing voice of Ariel in The Little Mermaid.
I've not seen The Little Mermaid.
You haven't seen The Little... Oh, wow.
I'm sure I've seen it.
I have no excuse for you.
I was probably watching it on my phone at the same time, but I was watching it.
And on this day in 1985, probably one of two of the most famous intercepts in aviation history. Hijacking of an Italian cruise ship reaches the dramatic climax as two U.S. Navy F-14 fighters intercept an Egyptian airliner attempting to fly the Palestinian hijackers to freedom and force the jet to land at a NATO base in Sicily. American and Italian troops surrounded the plane, and the terrorists were taken into Italian custody. Without announcing themselves, the F-14s trailed the airliner as it sought and was denied permission to land at Tunis. After a request to land at the Athens airport was likewise refused, the F-14s came up on its wing and turned on their lights so they could be seen and basically told the pilot, "You are going where we're going to tell you to go. If not, you're going to see what a Sidewinder feels like in the back of your engine."
Again, you're going to go swimming.
Yeah, from 30,000 feet. Now, the cockpit recording is really where I would love to play this for you, but...
You can't.
It's really good. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just kind of long because it's aircraft lingo going back and forth, and a lot of people get lost. But it is one of the most famous intercepts in history, and it happened on this day in 1985.
I had no idea. Did you, Jamie?
I had no idea. I just know that it's not nearly as famous as Zach Thomas intercept.
And that is this day in sports history.
That little indicator means it's time for your lucky local winning word. It's something we're doing with the Home Zone, where they make your house a home every single day over at 50th in Indiana. We're giving away money today and tomorrow. We did yesterday, too. And all you have to do to win that money, Jamie, is to get registered. You can't win, but everybody else can. Jeff and I can't either. Go to doublet973.com to get entered in and enter in the lucky local winning word at 652 Spartans. Spartans is your lucky local winning word today, as in the Michigan State Spartans. Okay? Spartans. Spartans.
Or if you were really cool, you'd know that that's the Seabrook Intermediate School mascot as well.
The who?
The Seabrook Intermediate School.
Is that where you went to elementary?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I went to intermediate school, yeah.
Intermediate school. Let's see here. A couple things from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. What the hell is wrong with Chuck? Must be a new listener. That's a wild take on Soulja Boy. Not cool, man. My favorite Chuck is when he goes rogue. Okay? Rogue this morning. What the hell is wrong with Chuck? He must be new.
Seemed a little harsh.
I just made a prediction, okay?
Okay.
6:53 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app, presented by Happy State Bank. Pepsi Man reports in this morning. He says, good morning from Jackson, Missouri. I was there in Houston this weekend at the Texan game, and the roof was already fixed there. Chuck, have a great day. That's from the Pepsi Man. Okay, well, I noticed that the roof was open, but I knew that they had been having some problems because they had part of it blow off during that hurricane back in July. So there you go. Somebody says this: my a bucket list for this person is ride out a Cat 5 hurricane and survive to tell a Weather Channel reporter. Okay. Just the Weather Channel, not CNN or Fox News or somebody like that. Mm-hmm. It's Weather Channel. Okay, it is 6:54 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Here's the aforementioned star.
Soon apparently to die.
Well, I just made a prediction.
Listen to him now while you can. Get your tickets now.
Get your tickets now. If he's in concert, go see him while you can. Soulja Boy on Double T 97.3.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Us with Jamie Lent, Jeff McGuire, and Chuck Heinz. All right, Joey McGuire made available yesterday and talked about a variety of things, some of which you've already heard about. And I want to get to a couple of things just as from a discussion standpoint. But one of the things that he had talked about after the game on Saturday, and then what he talked about this past Saturday, and then what he talked about yesterday is getting his young guys some work and practicing this week, and then giving some of the veterans some time off their legs, but really important from a developmental standpoint. And here he is on his young guys practicing on this bye week.
Well, you know, a lot of it's kind of health. Now, it was great. Like Isaac Smith practiced yesterday. Amir Washington practiced yesterday. Chapman Lewis is trending in a really good direction. He didn't practice. He ran. But when you have stuff like that, you want to see, like Eddie Smith traveled with us to Arizona and was available if we got to a point. He's trending in a really good direction. Peyton Morgan, Malik traveled with us, you know, and if we needed him to. Speaking of Malik, Joseph Plunk practiced yesterday. And so getting those guys back, but when you get that thin in some of those positions, those young guys have got to be ready to step up. And there are some guys, you know, Oliver at Star has been doing a really good job. And so guys like that, we want to kind of up their reps, especially this week. But it all starts, I tell all those young guys, it all starts with how can you help Coach Perry on special teams. Usually that's where it starts with the young guys. And so we did a young guys special teams period yesterday. We did a young guys 7-on-7. The old guys did 20 minutes of individual and then a 15-minute introduction to Baylor. And then we let them go run, and then we had the rest of practice, like a scrimmage and all that stuff. And so we just whenever you get banged up in certain areas, you got to have somebody that's going to step up. What a crazy time to not have like Joseph Adedire and Dylan Spencer, but have Charles Esters come back. Thank the Lord, that helped us so much. And so those young guys are the ones that we're really keen on to maybe help us get out of a game or help us on special teams.
Yeah, and you never know when these extra reps are going to come into play on a Saturday. I mean, so is it, it's not real sexy, but it's developmental talk, and it's something you got to have every single week.
Sure. You would like to think that, even in a regular week, you're trying to find time to do that. And do they still do like the Thursday evening scrimmages or whatever?
No.
Is that something that teams do anymore for the red shirts or whatever? But anyway, you just got to find time to. Yeah. Your young guys, you got to find time to give them reps and just get them progressing in the right direction.
I don't know. That was a Coach Leach thing that he did because he was always late for his coach's show because they had Thursday night football, and he'd walk in about 10 minutes late and go, "Oh, we had Thursday night football." So we were like literally right across the street from the stadium. We had walked a couple hundred feet.
I mean, no disrespect to Mike Leach, but he was late to his coach's show because he was late to his coach's show. He would be late to a noon meeting. That's who Mike Leach was.
He was late even when it was in his own building.
Yes, in his office he'd be late. And that's not. There are a lot of people out there like that. My uncle is one of them.
It'd be like, hey, you're why aren't you watching? It's the old comment of, somebody seeing a coach in the grocery store saying, "Why aren't you watching film?" After a loss, because my wife needed a gallon of milk. It's like can't watch film 24/7. I am. It's funny you bring that up because I was thinking about that the other day.
The gallon of milk or being late to a meeting?
No, I was thinking about the Thursday night football thing
football.
because going to Coach McGuire's show, they practice in the morning. So I don't know if they have some kind of version of that on Thursday, but I'll ask about that because I was curious. I was thinking about that the other day, wondering if they did something along those lines. So 7:19 this morning here on the morning drive. Let's see, one last thing from Coach McGuire. He talked about this in the Sports Center a little bit, but here's a longer explanation of the transfer portal and shortening it up and still having two sets of it. Here's Coach McGuire on that.
Yeah, I was for it, but I know it speeds up the process. The one thing that I was excited didn't happen because there was a lot of talk of only one window, and I think until we have a year under our belt with roster numbers and the transfer portal and what we're going to have to do, I think you need a full year to get like what the landscape's going to look like. So I was really excited that they didn't close the spring window because it would have, you're talking about accelerating. If they say, hey, you're only going to have 105 and you only have one window, there's a lot of guys out there that are going to be transferring or they're going to have to transfer because just sheer numbers. And then you're sitting there trying to get ready for a conference championship or a bowl game, and you might be having guys that are having to get out because they're not going to be in the 105 or something like that. This was the best scenario for everybody, the players and the coaches and all the programs, of being able to have the two windows. I do think the shortened windows are better, just from the standpoint, especially in the fall, spring, because you're starting school. Like last year, we started school on January 10th. The longer that window goes, the harder it is to get them into school. Now they're missing classes. I don't want anybody behind. I want them, hey, I'm going to be a Texas Tech Red Raider. Let's get to class. Let's get in the weight room, and let's go to, build this chemistry in this team. And, our culture is very important. I always tell everybody, the most important thing we do, we're going to do it today at 2:30. We practice. But the most important thing in our building are our players. And if it is a new player, whether it's a mid-year freshman or a transfer, we want them in here as fast as possible so they can start building the relationships. And it's, been really successful for us, the way they've integrated themselves, the Josh Kellys and the Caleb Douglas, and just how close everybody is. The longer that window is, the longer everything out here is going on, and so it was good.
So you like having both windows?
If Coach McGuire likes it, that's great.
That's good. Okay, it's good for you.
I really don't have an opinion.
You don't care?
No, I mean, again, I'm not a coach, so it doesn't affect me. But what he was saying makes sense. Get him in there as soon as possible and get him in the system.
Sure.
All that good stuff. That makes total sense to me. Yeah, I mean, it's just not something that affects me, and so it's not something. I mean, like as a fan, I don't think it. I want us to win, so I want us to have good players.
Right.
But I don't feel like it's a big advantage or disadvantage to me.
Critical.
Yeah, and so I don't like everybody's dealing with the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's for coaches to deal with and the players themselves, and I'm not in that world, so I don't look at it and be like, oh, that's great for Texas Tech, or that's terrible for Texas Tech. Why'd they do that? It's just the way they're doing business, and so I get it. Like I said, I don't have a big opinion one way or another.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you see what Shane Beamer did to one of his players this week? He's the coach at South Carolina. Apparently one of his players, Bengali Kamara, came to him and said, hey, I'm thinking about redshirting. He had gotten some extra playing time the last few games, had 9 tackles through 5 games this season. And so he decided that he wanted to redshirt. And
redshirt with the intent of
going into the portal and going somewhere else. Okay, he wanted to preserve his eligibility to transfer.
Okay.
So he goes into Beamer's office, told him he was redshirting. Coach Beamer said, I told him that's not quite how this works. We can have a discussion about your role. We went back and forth a little bit. He said, my job is to do what's best for the team, and what's best for the team is Galley continuing to play and helping us to beat Alabama. He didn't quite feel the same way. In the end, I made the decision for him that it was probably best to move on. And so he is no longer with the team.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody wants to redshirt, what else are you supposed to do? Well, it's not like he didn't have a choice, did he?
Yeah, but he's like, now he's away from the team too. So I think Mr. Galley wanted to stay with the team and still have all the benefits, but he wanted a redshirt.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
Okay, so we're gonna do a fill in the blank today.
Okay.
You guys good with that?
Sure. I'm really not very good with those questions. I'm better at multiple guess and
do you want us to
essays.
Stop doing this segment?
No, I love it.
A problem for you?
No, I love it.
Are you like sweating right now?
No, I'm just.
It's just like right before you take a test. It's supposed to be fun.
No, yes and no. I'm just trying to do a better job of answering your questions, which really means that I need to just do a better job of listening.
Hey, you haven't answered Arkansas in quite some time.
I haven't.
You're
but
fine.
I mean, it keeps rearing its ugly head, though.
Arkansas? Yeah,
Yes.
they'll do that.
Yes, things like Arkansas just don't go away.
It does. No. There's a lot of things that I say that seemingly just don't go away.
If you're a new listener and you want to know the backstory of Arkansas, I asked Chuck and Jeff for basically a math question, like how many wins
Where the Red Raider
will
basketball
the Red
team.
Raider have in non-conference play?
play.
And Chuck answered Arkansas.
And I was clearly
How
not,
many? Like a number. We were looking for a number.
clearly not paying attention.
And he answered
Clearly.
Arkansas.
He went through the schedule. He was talking about wins and losses, and then answered Arkansas.
His point being that the only one you were going to lose was Arkansas.
Right.
But he answered
we love you, Chuck.
Arkansas. That's right. To a how many question.
To a how many question?
Okay.
Right.
So I'm going to allow you to give me 2 answers. Okay? And nothing is off the board.
Okay, nothing's off the board.
Including Arkansas.
That's right. You can answer Arkansas if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you fill in the blank for me here. Okay. Red Raiders will play in the Big 12 championship game if
Taj Brooks stays healthy.
Okay.
You continue to see the improvement on your defense that you have seen since the second week of the season.
Okay. Help me out on the chat line. I swore I said, give me 2 answers.
I thought you just one. Okay.
No. You both answered one, so it makes me think I didn't say it, that I didn't say 2.
I thought there was going to be a 2-part. I thought there was going to be another fill in the blank. I thought there was 2 fill in the blanks. Because when you said fill in the blank, you fill in the blank,
My bad.
There was 1 blank.
Again, you both gave me just one, which leads me to believe that
neither one of us have a track record of listening very well.
Leads me to believe that I am the wrong one who said it wrong.
You're never wrong.
My 2 answers that I had in my mind, were number 1. I'm going to say you stay healthy with your skill position players. Okay. Really, it's Barron and Taj.
Yeah.
I think you can handle a wide receiver going down because you have other good ones.
Be interested to see what Josh Kelly kind of looks like a week from Saturday.
Yeah. Okay. So those 2 have to stay healthy, excuse me. And B, the second part of it is you have to continue kind of building with Jeff, but a little bit more specific. You have to continue to find ways to pressure opposing quarterbacks. I feel like that was a big part of you winning on Saturday, and it feels like the last few weeks before that, you've done a good job getting after the quarterback as well. So whatever Coach DeRuiter is dialing up and guys improving and the team getting healthier and all those things, you need to keep doing those kind of things. Those are the 2 things that I think are key, but I think we're all on the same page with the whole I don't think you can afford to lose either Barron or Tosh, either one of them.
No, I don't think so either because, and you talked about, putting pressure on the quarterback. And I know that you gave up 300 yards to the guy against Cincinnati, but I think at times you did put pressure on him because he threw an interception and he throws an interception because you got in his face. Let's see here from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. This person says, win out at home, win the turnover battle. Okay. I think that's, but you still have to go to, you have to go to TCU. You're going to have to get a road win.
Win out at home would give you, how many? There's 3 left, right? Baylor, West Virginia, and who am I forgetting? Colorado. Yes, please win that game. Man, I don't think that gets you in.
I don't either.
Yeah, I think you got to win at least 4, and even then, I don't think it's a guarantee.
Yeah, because then you're going to have a total of, you're going to have 2 losses in the Big 12. You'd have 3 overall, but just you'd have the 2 in the Big 12. I'm not sure that 2 losses is going to, because there's going to be some funky tiebreakers that go with it, right? And so you may not win the tiebreakers. You may be in a position where you'd be considered, but you may not win the tiebreakers.
But remember, a lot of the teams that you feel like are, I'll speak for myself, a lot of the teams that I feel like are the biggest contenders for being in that Big 12 title game already have a loss. Specifically Utah and Kansas State, right? Both of them have a loss. I am still, maybe I'm the only one, still not thinking that Colorado and BYU are going to be in the Big 12 championship game.
Yeah. Now we have 2 ones. We got Juan who said, after he said blank, he stayed silent for about 2 blanks worth of time. So it was obvious he asked for 2. JL, you did say give me 2 answers, but I was of the same mind as Chuck, scary for you, thinking there were going to be 2 questions. That from our other Juan.
Okay.
And there was a gap between when you said 2 and then Arkansas and then the question.
Arkansas
we got
away with
distracted.
things.
So
Kevin says this, I definitely heard him say 2 answers. I'm with Chuck. I thought there was a second question coming.
Well,
I think this one is on JL. 100% ask for 2. Okay, so there you go.
I am prone to coming up with a second one after the fact.
Yeah.
Like one answer leads to another question. Yeah.
Certainly, I think you got to win the turnover battle. I certainly think you got to win out at home.
You definitely have to win out at home, but I think you have to get one on the road too.
At least.
Win out is my second answer of that. I don't know that you're going to win tiebreakers with your schedule. If
I told you won 5 of the next 6, how confident would you be?
Which one would you lose? Because if you're competing against Iowa State to be the second spot,
you're trying to tell me that with one loss in the Big 12, you don't think we're getting in? There's a possibility of us not getting in? I think there's no way. I am 100% confident if you won 5.
Yeah, I think at this point in the season, I would agree with Jamie. At the start of the season, I'm not sure I would have agreed with you. But I think at this point in time, I'll agree with you.
Maybe so.
5 of 6.
Yeah.
If you win...
I don't care who you lose to.
Yeah. 8. If you win 8 Big 12 games, I think you're going to be in the Big 12 championship game.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Good morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. All right, one quick question here from the Yates Flooring Center chat line, Jamie, because I think it's a quick answer. Do you believe that the Big Ten and the SEC are somewhat afraid of the success of the Big 12, considering their proposal for a super conference?
Well, what's success?
My answer would be no. The SEC and the Big Ten aren't afraid of anybody. They're trying. They understand that something's going to happen in the future after 2031, with regard to TV deals and money and college football playoffs, and they want to be in control of it. This is they're not looking over their shoulder and go, oh, well, look who's coming up. It's the Big 12. No.
I don't think they're scared of the Big 12. I think they're guaranteeing they're doing everything they can to make sure they're getting as much money as possible.
They're going to maintain their supremacy.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't see anything like that. Okay. The other thing, we wanted to kind of finish up a conversation we'd had earlier about South Carolina and Shane Beamer, Frank's son, who's the head coach at South Carolina, basically had a player come to him and say that he wanted to redshirt. And they had given this young man additional playing time. He was a linebacker. His name is Bengali Kamara. Okay. And he had been getting some more time. He had recorded 9 tackles through 5 games this year. And he asked Coach Beamer for a red shirt. And Coach Beamer was like, we can have a discussion about your role. And they went back and forth a little bit. And he said, my job is to do what's best for the team. What was best for the team in my mind was that Galley continuing to play and helping us to go and try and beat Alabama this weekend. He didn't quite feel the same way. In the end, I made the decision for him that it was probably best to move on. So he wanted a red shirt so he could come back. Basically, he was trying to be selfish and trying to bet on himself for next year, realizing that he wasn't going to get that much playing time this year, and he was going to burn a year. So now Beamer basically said to him, kick rocks. You can go if you don't want to be here and don't want to contribute this year, then you can go be a student and go somewhere else. And he's now gonna put himself in the transfer portal.
So a couple different things here. When we talked about this the initial time, you had said he was wanting to redshirt.
Yes.
And I said for the purpose of, and your answer was hitting the transfer portal.
Yeah, and I was wrong. That was wrong on that.
Okay.
I was wrong on
that. That changes things dramatically.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess my first question is, if any coach has a player come and say, hey, I want a red shirt so I can hit the transfer portal, are you not saying be gone? Everyone is saying be gone.
Yeah.
Surely you're not saying, oh, but you can still show up and practice, or, hey, you can still use our weight room.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
I would be furious with Joey McGuire if he was doing that.
Yeah.
I don't even like the fact that Terrence Shannon is coming back using our facilities. There's a little bit of a different situation there. I don't love that. You're gone, you're gone.
Yeah.
Okay? I thought it was really odd. I'll just be honest with you. This past week at a Tech baseball scrimmage, that Dylan Carter's in the dugout. Okay, you transferred and went to Georgia. Okay, I guess he's back here trying to graduate. Whatever. Okay, that was also kind of mutual. You know, where it was like, it's probably better you go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. But it just seems odd to me.
Yeah, it
just seems odd to me. Again, great kid. Probably still friends with a lot of the guys on the team and friendly with the coaching staff. So I'm not. And same thing with Terrence Shannon. Okay, I don't know Terrence Shannon as a kid, but clearly, Coach McCaslin is allowing him to do it. He thinks highly of him. So I get that. But it just seems really odd to me. So if some kid comes to Coach McGuire and says, I'm going to redshirt so I can transfer, I would hope Coach McGuire says, okay, try to talk him out of it initially, but then says, okay, we wish you the best of luck. I don't bother stopping by anymore.
Mm-hmm. But I guess in the way that I read this, as we were discussing it and kind of read it on the fly, so I apologize for that.
I guess there's a different situation, right, for a kid who comes and says, Coach, I'm not playing barely at all. I'm not helping the team. I'm not contributing. And you as a coach, you're like, okay, I understand. I understand. So you're not maybe you're not rude about it or whatever, but you're still not wasting resources on this kid, right?
Well, and look, I don't know how much playing time he got, okay, but apparently it was enough, and they felt like that because he had a role in the defensive rotation, so he was part of depth. So it wasn't like he was just on the sideline not playing at all.
Yeah. Okay. So, and really, we've the lines have blurred so much,
yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
They have, and I'm probably too harsh on one side of it. And probably good for our coaches or whatever that are not as, I don't know, straight as I am on that. And you know what? Hey, every situation's a little bit different.
I'm kind of leaning. I'd lean in your direction.
Okay.
I mean, it's like if you don't want to be here, then don't go somewhere else.
Yeah, and again, situations, I mean, the Shannon situation with the crazy coach that we had going on there gives you a little leeway to him. It absolutely does to me.
Upon further review.
Yes.
At the time,
yes.
It didn't look very good.
Yes.
But upon further review.
Okay, so it gives you a little leeway with him, so that factors into it. But I would expect our coaches to, not be jerks about it. Just like when some employee comes to me here and say, hey, I'm taking another job. I'm like, hey, we loved having you. I wish you luck. I'm not looking to sit around and rehash the old days with you. Mm-hmm. Okay, bye.
Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, no, I
Thanks
appreciate it. We hate to see you leave, but bye. Okay, and so
I guess if I'm looking at it this way, if this kid, if you have a player that is contributing and he and you have made it a point to put him in the rotation where he is now part of your depth, and now all of a sudden he's coming to you and going, well, I got more playing time, but it's still not enough, and so for me, I want a red shirt, and the coach is like, we really need you, and it doesn't go well on the back and forth, then at some point in time. It's probably not good for for Shane Beamer because teams might use that against him moving forward, and he may have to explain that a little bit.
I do think it's a bit of a bad look. I mean, don't coaches at times make decisions where, like, say at the end of a season, a guy's been injured, and they're going to say, you know what, that guy could help us right now, but it's better for him to just redshirt so he doesn't burn a year on 2 games. Right? Don't coaches make that decision?
Yeah.
Right? So didn't we do that with one of our linebackers last year and not play him in the Texas game?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so that's a coach saying, yeah, they could help us, but it's better for them in the long run.
And it's going to be better for us because it's going to help us get another year.
If Joey McGuire is honest with what he was saying earlier in one of the sound bites that we talked about where he was like, hey, number one, it's about the student athlete here. We're going to do what's best for the player, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And the player, and they know it's better, that's fair. I don't think it's... I don't disagree with your use of the word selfish. The person is clearly thinking what's best for him, mm-hmm. but I don't know that.
It's not a black and white cut.
Yeah.
Man, this is a well-written text here. I bet he may not have said red shirt with intent to transfer, but Beamer saw the writing on the wall and knew that was the case.
Okay.
Not all things are explicitly stated.
Yeah, that might be fair. That might be absolutely right.
And as he got into that discussion, it may have come to him going, oh, basically what this kid wants to do is opt out now so he can go somewhere else.
Yeah, that seems, yep.
So
well, either way in that situation, he had to be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just very conflicted, confusing. It's not always cut and dried.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.